Sammy, you sat back, you watched all the playoffs. Lakers have been out of the playoffs for over a month. We sit here today, and I think, some of the areas that we know the Lakers got to improve on, we're very well aware. They need a center. They need this. We've heard some of the different names that have been rumored around the Lakers. Just kind of curious your feel and your are you positive going into the offseason here that, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be hearing real names and maybe trades and things along those lines? Are you encouraged about this offseason? Do you feel maybe when you see quotes from guys like Brian Windhorst that 13 teams are going to be trying to compete in the Western Conference? Like, just how do you feel their position?
I think they're going to be good. And to give Rob Pelinka a little love, whenever we feel like the situation may be dire, which I don't think it is right now, he does kind of always seem to pull a rabbit out of his, you know what, and do this thing. This team was never meant to compete when they traded for Luka. I heard you saying it earlier on the show before I got on. Like, we all got excited because they were playing football, and it was Luka, and they were winning games, surprisingly. But to think that team is, I mean, really, realistically, to only have a guy over 7 foot that's Jackson Hayes, were they going to win a title? No. I mean, I thought they would get past Minnesota. I thought that would happen, or I thought maybe because Golden State didn't have any size, they could get past them. But was it realistic to face a Boston had they been there, or a Cleveland with Mobley, or Oklahoma City? Probably not. But, this team wasn't meant to. This was a move for the future, and then the future is going to come. All they need is a couple centers. They need wing defenders, 2 centers, whether that be like a really good center, and then you have Hayes back on the bench. I think a veteran point guard would be nice to come off the bench to kind of run a little bit of the offense.
Can I ask you a question? What's a really good center, and that's realistic? Because I think there's different definitions of maybe really. Is Nick Claxton a really good center in your eyes?
I think a really good center for the Lakers. I think is Nick Claxton a superstar? No, but Nick Claxton.
I like that. A good center for the Lakers, Lakers specifically. Yep.
For the Lakers, Nick Claxton would be fantastic, and you don't have to trade Reaves to get him. I think it's very manageable. You still have picks from the Luka deal. Now there's more picks and pick swaps available because it's the offseason. Connect. They obviously were willing to deal Connect for the Mark Williams deal, and he's still there. He got a lot of trade value because he's a young shooter. So I think the Lakers are going to be good. I agree with this. Lakers need solid players, not superstars. They have the superstars. You need some bigs. I think a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker will be very affordable, really good elite, kind of defender and hit some threes. The Lakers are there. They just need to tweak the roster a little bit. I think they could be a real threat for next year.
I put out a video yesterday. Literally, it was on those 2 players on – if Trevor Lane was on here, Lakers Nation, we're talking about, listen, if you found a way, you got Nick Claxton over the summer, you put together a trade package. I think, I think there's levels to an Austin Reaves trade, and I'm not trading Austin Reaves for any of the Jared Allens or the Daniel Gaffords or the Nick Claxtons. I'm not. I think some people would put him in a deal. But if you're able to get a guy like Nick Claxton and you gave up some expiring contracts, you gave up some draft compensation, and I don't know if that's going to be enough. And then I think a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was only going to get a certain amount of playing time in Minnesota. I think it's clear he's not going to be a part of Minnesota's future. He's just not. I don't think they could pay him. They're dealing with a second apron as well. If that's your offseason, and then you're kind of able to, get just a couple small pieces from a fit perspective and everything else, or you brought back Jackson Hayes, so you got another 7-footer that's sitting on the bench. That's interesting. My concern with the Lakers is there's so much competition right now for such few players. It's not a big free agency pool. If you are going to make a move, it's going to have to come in trades. When I hear Sham say that expect kind of one of these more wild off seasons, that makes me think that there's so many teams doing deals. Do the Lakers have the assets to go make deals that other teams are just as desperate to go make?
I think it's small free agent pool, but the one nice thing about it is everyone's big game hunting because Giannis is, all reports available. A lot of smoke and fire there. Kevin Durant report yesterday from Shams that they're going to actively work with him to find a trade partner. There's like 4 to 6 teams in on him. I don't think the Lakers are in on Kevin Durant, and Giannis would be fantastic. I don't think the Lakers probably have the package So unless they're really high on Austin Reaves, that's kind of the one guy that the Lakers can offer that a lot of players can't.
There'll be a lot of teams that will give up just a way better package than what the Lakers can. The only way Giannis could even be a relevant conversation is if Giannis is like, I'm only going to the Lakers and that's it. And it's going to take that kind of strong arm. And even that, I don't think would guarantee it.
He's rumored about the big markets. That's the only thing I've kind of heard. I mean, Houston could give a massive package. The Spurs could give a massive package with Castle and that number 2 pick. So don't expect that. But the big game hunting, I think, does benefit the Lakers. There's some players I think that have some value that aren't getting looked at that could really help this team. Because, again, I don't think the Lakers need a superstar. They got superstars. They got big time players. LeBron's won he's won 5 rings or 4 rings. Luka went to the finals the year before. Austin Reaves, I'm higher on Austin Reaves than a lot of people, I think. But this team with some tweaks, I think, could be really good heading into next year and be atop the Western Conference with Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that trio is nice on paper, but that trio also doesn't. Those pieces all don't fit. And unless you address, like you just mentioned, you got to make sure that everything else is perfect. If those are going to be your 3 guys going into next year, it's not that Reaves isn't talented. It's not that Luka can't be a top 3-5 player in the NBA. It's not that LeBron's not one of the greatest to ever do it. It's, do the puzzle pieces fit? I can have these different ingredients to make a meal, but if all 3 of these ingredients have nothing to do together, that part's a problem.
See, I would wait on the Reaves deal. If Reaves, I wouldn't trade Austin Reaves, but if I was going to trade Austin Reaves, I would be waiting till the deadline to see, does he work with Luka? Because we didn't really get to see him that much together.
Good point.
Yes, the defensive concerns are an issue. Luka doesn't play defense, and Reaves is super slow and can't play defense. So I understand that. They didn't get to play that much together because Luka was hurt for a little while, and then Reaves was hurt for a second. So I would let him there. I mean, you're telling me at a deadline that some teams wouldn't want an all-star level player, possibly, that's an elite scorer in a package, who are desperate to get to a championship. I think trading him right now when his value might be a little down, considering the Minnesota series, would be a mistake.
Well, I think the other piece of that is, if you do decide, hey, at the trade deadline, you're going to be figuring out a lot of answers as well. Where are the Lakers? Where's the team? Do you want to pay him $30 million in the offseason? Is there a team out there that you can make a deal with that he's comfortable with saying, hey, I would sign an extension here? There'll be a lot that can happen there. But I think the thing that you said that was most important, what does the team look like when they get the training camp together, they get preseason together, they actually get to put a team together that actually has pieces that will fit. So I think a lot of those are fair
and Luke
questions.
is skinny now, so the world's back to peak. He's been on that diet. Those green juices already a month in. 6-pack coming for October.
Can we please, for an NBA basketball player like Luka, especially a guard in the NBA, can we just I pray that we're not talking about, is Luka in shape for this upcoming season? Yeah. If him and I have the same percentage body fat, that's not a good thing, man. I'm telling you right now, that's not a good thing. Pelinka probably had 10 irons in the fire that we know nothing about. I hope so. It's funny with Pelinka. The guy got Luka, and I think a lot of Laker fans don't want to give Pelinka credit. I'll still give credit where credit's due. I think the Dorian Finney-Smith move was the right move, even though DFS, I don't think, performed all that well in the postseason. He's had some moments where you're like, oh, yeah, that's a good move. And then he's had moments where it's like, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. So this offseason, we'll kind of find out where they go from here. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.